Welcome back to Animeverse Lore. The story continues. What if Minato survived? Let's begin. The creature beyond existence. The creature charged toward Naruto. The ground shattered beneath its feet. Naruto jumped into the air. Shadow clone jutsu. Hundreds of clones appeared around the creature. Attack. The clones rushed forward. The creature swung its enormous arm. Boom. Every clone disappeared instantly. Naruto landed beside Sasuke. That thing is strong. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. Its body isn't made of chakra. Naruto looked at Lyra. Then what is it made of? Lyra stared at the creature. Possibility. Naruto frowned. Possibility. Lyra nodded. It doesn't have one fixed form. It becomes whatever reality cannot explain. The creature suddenly changed. Its body became enormous. Then smaller. Then it looked like a giant wolf. Then a dragon. Then a human. Naruto stared. It can change its form. Lyra answered. It can become anything. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Then attacking it directly won't work. Naruto nodded. We need to find its weakness. Quote. The creature suddenly disappeared. Naruto's eyes widened. Where did it go? A voice whispered behind him. Here. Naruto turned. The creature was standing directly behind him. It raised its hand. Sasuke appeared between them. Move. Sasuke used a Menetejikara. Naruto and Sasuke switched positions. The creature's attack missed. Naruto appeared above it. Rasengan. He struck the creature directly in the head. Boom. The creature was pushed into the mountain. Naruto landed. Got you. The mountain exploded. The creature emerged. There wasn't even a scratch. Naruto's expression became serious. That didn't work. Quote. Lyra suddenly shouted. Naruto. Don't attack it. Naruto looked at her. What? Every attack gives it more information. Sasuke understood. It's learning from us. Lyra nodded. Exactly. Quote. The creature smiled. Its voice changed. It sounded exactly like Naruto. I understand you now. Naruto froze. The creature continued. I understand your Rasengan. I understand your chakra. I understand your memories. I understand your fears. Naruto's expression changed. The creature's body began transforming. Golden chakra surrounded it. A Rasengan appeared in its hand. Naruto stared. It copied me. The creature smiled. Not copied. Understood. It launched the Rasengan. Naruto barely dodged. The attack destroyed the mountain behind him. Sasuke looked shocked. That was Naruto's power. Quote. Naruto clenched his fists. Then I'll use something it can't understand. Lyra shouted. Naruto, wait. But Naruto had already closed his eyes. He remembered Minato, Kushina, Sasuke, Jiraiya, the World Tree, the Golden Leaf, every choice he had made. He opened his eyes. I'm not fighting with power. I'm fighting with my choice. The Golden Leaf appeared. The creature suddenly stopped. Its expression changed. What is that? Naruto smiled. Something you can't copy. The Golden Leaf released a soft golden light. The creature screamed. Its body began breaking apart. Sasuke stared. Why is it reacting? Lyra answered. Because the Golden Leaf isn't power. It's a decision. The creature tried to absorb the light. But it couldn't. Naruto stepped forward. You can copy my chakra. Quote. You can copy my techniques. You can copy my memories. But you can't copy the reason I fight. The creature roared. The entire cave shook. Naruto raised the Golden Leaf. I fight because I choose to protect people. Quote. The light became brighter. The creature began shrinking. Its enormous body disappeared. Its black cracks vanished. Finally, a small black sphere remained. Naruto caught it. Silence filled the cave. The villagers slowly came out of the barrier. Sasuke looked at the sphere. Is it dead? Lyra shook her head. No. Naruto looked at her. Then what is it? Lyra's face became serious. It's sleeping. Quote. Naruto stared at the sphere. Can it wake up? Lyra nodded. Yes. Whenever someone makes a choice that reality cannot accept. Naruto frowned. That sounds like trouble. Lyra smiled. With you around, trouble seems to find you anyway. Sasuke sighed. She's right. Naruto laughed. Yeah. Suddenly, the Golden Leaf began glowing. A small image appeared above it. Naruto's smile disappeared. It was Minato. But he looked older. Much older. He was standing in a destroyed Konoha. Naruto whispered. Dad. Minato's voice came from the Golden Leaf. Naruto. If you're seeing this, something has happened in our reality. Quote. Naruto stepped closer. What happened? The image changed. Konoha was burning. The Hokage monument was destroyed. And standing in front of the village was a mysterious man wearing a white cloak. Minato continued, "Don't come back." Naruto's eyes widened. Why? Minato looked directly at him. Because the enemy isn't attacking our world. He is attacking you. The message suddenly ended. Naruto stared at the golden leaf. Sasuke looked at him. "We need to go back." Naruto nodded. Lyra looked worried. "You don't understand." Naruto turned toward her. "What?" Lyra pointed at the black sphere in his hand. "The creature you just defeated was only the messenger." Naruto's expression changed. "Then who sent it?" Lyra looked toward the sky. "The person who wants Naruto erased from existence." Naruto clenched his fist. "Then let's go home." He opened a portal. But before they could enter, the black sphere in Naruto's hand whispered, "He's already there." Naruto stopped. And somewhere far away, a figure opened his eyes. Finally, Naruto is coming home. The enemy waiting in Konoha. Naruto stepped through the portal. Sasuke followed. Lyra came behind them. The moment they arrived, Naruto stopped. Konoha was burning. Smoke covered the sky. The streets were empty. The Hokage monument had been destroyed. Naruto looked around in disbelief. "This is my home." Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. "Something is wrong." Naruto looked at him. "What? There are no bodies." Naruto understood. "Then everyone is alive." Lyra looked toward the Hokage tower. "Not everyone." Naruto immediately ran toward it. Sasuke and Lyra followed. Inside the tower, they found several unconscious shinobi. Naruto checked one of them. "He's alive." Sasuke looked around. Someone defeated them without killing them. Naruto stood up. "Then they're looking for something." A slow clap came from the darkness. Naruto turned. "Show yourself." A man stepped out. He wore a white cloak. His face was hidden by a silver mask. Naruto immediately recognized the chakra. "That chakra." Sasuke looked at him. "You know him?" Quote. Naruto shook his head. "No, but I've felt it before." The masked man removed his mask. Naruto's eyes widened. The man looked exactly like Minato. But his eyes were black. His hair was completely white. And a strange mark covered half of his face. Naruto whispered, "Another Minato." The man smiled. "Not another Minato. I am what Minato could have become." Naruto stepped forward. "Why did you attack Konoha?" Quote. The man answered, "To bring you back." Naruto frowned. "You could have simply asked." The man laughed. "You would never have returned." "Why?" "Because you finally found peace." Naruto clenched his fist. "What do you want from me?" The man pointed toward the golden leaf. "That." Naruto looked at the leaf. "The golden leaf." "Yes. It contains the power to create choices outside reality." Sasuke stepped forward. "And you want that power?" The man shook his head. "I don't want its power. I want what is hidden inside it." Naruto's expression changed. "What is hidden inside?" The man smiled. "The memory of origin." Quote. Lyra suddenly became serious. "That's impossible." The masked man looked at her. "You know the truth." Lyra remained silent. Naruto looked at her. "What truth?" The masked man answered for her. "Origin did not die." Naruto froze. "He survived." The man continued. "And he left something behind." Naruto looked at the golden leaf. "Inside this?" "Yes." Sasuke narrowed his eyes. "Then why didn't Origin take it with him?" Quote. The man smiled. "Because he knew Naruto would protect it." Naruto stared at the golden leaf. Suddenly, it began glowing. A voice came from inside. "Naruto." Naruto's eyes widened. He knew that voice. "Origin." The masked man immediately stepped forward. "Give me the leaf." Naruto held it tightly. "No." The man raised his hand. The entire building began shaking. Sasuke activated his Susanoo. Lyra created a golden barrier. Naruto stood in front of them. "You want the leaf. Come and take it." The masked man smiled. "That is exactly what I wanted." He disappeared. Naruto barely blocked his attack. Boom. The floor cracked beneath them. Sasuke attacked from the side. The masked man dodged. Lyra launched several golden blades. The man avoided them all. Naruto created dozens of shadow clones. Rasengan. The clones attacked together. The masked man raised his hand. Every Rasengan stopped in midair. Naruto's eyes widened. "What technique is that?" The man smiled. "The power to reject a choice." Quote. The Rasengan disappeared. Sasuke looked shocked. He can erase actions before they happen. Naruto understood. Then we can't fight normally. The masked man appeared behind Naruto. Correct. He placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto suddenly couldn't move. The golden leaf began leaving his hand. Naruto. Sasuke rushed toward them. The masked man pushed him away. Naruto struggled. Let go. The man whispered. You have saved countless realities. But you never asked yourself one question. Naruto looked at him. What question? Who saves you? The golden leaf suddenly stopped moving. A golden light surrounded Naruto. The masked man stepped backward. What? Naruto smiled. I don't need someone to save me. Sasuke stood beside him. You have us. Lyra raised her weapon. And you have me. Quote. Naruto looked at them. The golden leaf became brighter. The masked man stared at the three of them. Then he smiled. Exactly. Naruto frowned. What? The man laughed. That is the weakness I was waiting for. Quote. The sky above Konoha suddenly opened. A massive black symbol appeared. Every person in the village felt it. The masked man looked upward. The final seal is ready. Naruto's expression changed. What seal? The man looked at him. The seal that will separate you from every reality forever. Naruto clenched his fist. Then I'll break it. The masked man smiled. Try. The black symbol descended toward Konoha. And Naruto realized that this battle was not about defeating an enemy. It was about stopping reality itself from removing him. The seal that erases Naruto. The black symbol descended toward Konoha. Naruto looked up. The entire village began shaking. Sasuke stared at the sky. If that seal touches Naruto, his existence will be removed from every reality. Lyra nodded. And everyone connected to him will forget him again. Quote. Naruto clenched his fist. Then we stop it before it reaches me. The masked man laughed. You cannot destroy the seal. Naruto looked at him. Why? Because it isn't a weapon. It is a rule. Quote. Naruto frowned. A rule. The man nodded. Reality itself has decided that you no longer belong. Naruto looked at his hands. They were slowly becoming transparent. Sasuke stepped beside him. Naruto. I'm fine. You are disappearing. Naruto smiled. Then we have to be quick. Lyra raised her golden weapon. There is one way to stop it. Naruto looked at her. What? We need to enter the seal. Quote. Sasuke frowned. Enter it. Lyra nodded. The seal exists outside normal space. If we enter its center, we can change the rule. Naruto looked at the symbol. Then let's go. The masked man stepped forward. You really believe you can change a rule created by reality? Naruto smiled. I've changed bigger things. Sasuke opened a dimensional portal. Let's move. Naruto, Sasuke and Lyra entered the portal. The moment they crossed through it, everything became white. There were no buildings, no sky, no ground, only endless symbols floating around them. Naruto looked around. What is this place? Lyra answered. The archive. Every rule of reality is stored here. Sasuke looked at the symbols. So if we change the rule, we can save Naruto. Naruto smiled. Simple. Lyra shook her head. Not simple. Quote. Why? Because every rule has a guardian. A massive sound echoed through the white space. Something appeared ahead. A gigantic armored figure stood before them. Its body was covered in ancient symbols. Its eyes opened. WHO enters the archive. Naruto stepped forward. I do. The guardian looked at him. You are the one. WHO must be erased. Naruto raised his kunai. Not happening. The guardian lifted its enormous weapon. Then you will be removed by force. It attacked. Naruto jumped away. The weapon struck the ground. The entire archive shook. Sasuke attacked with his Susanoo. The guardian blocked it. Lyra launched golden energy. The guardian ignored it. Naruto created hundreds of clones. Attack. The clones surrounded the guardian. The guardian released a wave of energy. Every clone disappeared. Naruto landed beside Sasuke. This thing is stronger than the others. Sasuke nodded. We need another strategy. Lyra looked at the symbols around them. I found something. Naruto looked at her. What? The guardian isn't protecting the seal. Quote. Then what is it protecting? The original rule. Naruto frowned. Which rule? Lyra pointed toward a massive symbol. The symbol showed a person standing alone. She explained. The rule says that every reality must have a fixed center. Quote. Naruto stared at it. And I'm the center. Lyra nodded. That's why reality is trying to erase you. Naruto suddenly understood. If I stop being the center, The rule won't need to erase you. Quote. Sasuke looked at him. But how? Naruto smiled. We give the center to everyone. Lyra's eyes widened. That would change the entire archive. Naruto nodded. Exactly. He raised the golden leaf. The guardian charged. Naruto didn't move. Sasuke stepped in front of him. I'll hold it. Naruto looked at Sasuke. You sure? Sasuke smiled. You've done enough. Sasuke activated his full Susanoo. The guardian attacked. Sasuke blocked it. The impact shook the archive. Lyra began changing the symbols. Naruto raised the golden leaf. Everyone deserves a place. The golden leaf released golden light. The symbol of the fixed center began cracking. The guardian roared. Stop. Naruto continued. No single person should be the center of every reality. Not me. Not Origin. Not anyone. The symbol shattered. A wave of light spread through the archive. The guardian dropped its weapon. The black seal above Konoha began disappearing. Naruto's body stopped becoming transparent. Sasuke lowered his Susanoo. We did it. Lyra smiled. But Naruto suddenly felt something strange. The golden leaf had become completely white. Naruto looked at it. What happened? Lyra's smile disappeared. The rule changed. Quote. Isn't that good? Yes. Then why are you worried? Lyra pointed toward the archive. Every symbol was changing. Reality was rewriting itself. The masked man appeared in front of them. He looked shocked. You actually did it. Naruto smiled. Looks like you were wrong. The man shook his head. No, I was right. Naruto frowned. What? The masked man looked at the changing archive. You removed yourself from the center. Quote. Naruto nodded. Exactly. The man smiled. Then you have opened the door for something else to become the center. The archive suddenly went completely dark. A single red eye appeared. Naruto's expression changed. Sasuke raised his sword. Lyra whispered. That shouldn't exist. The masked man stepped backward. For the first time, he looked afraid. The red eye opened completely. A voice echoed through the archive. You removed the center. Now I will become it. Naruto stared into the darkness. Who are you? The voice answered. I am the first law. The entire archive began collapsing. And Naruto realized that by saving himself, he had awakened the oldest force in existence. The first law. The archive began collapsing. Ancient symbols shattered around Naruto, Sasuke, and Lyra. The red eye remained motionless in the darkness. Naruto looked at it. You said you're the first law. The voice answered. I am the rule from which every other rule was created. Sasuke tightened his grip on his sword. Then why were you hiding? Quote. The red eye turned toward him. Because there was always a center. Origin. The world tree. Then Naruto. But now you have removed the center. The darkness expanded. So I am free. Lyra looked terrified. This is impossible. Naruto turned toward her. Why? Because the first law isn't an entity. It's the foundation of reality itself. Naruto looked back at the red eye. Then you're not supposed to have a body. Quote. The voice answered. Correct. The darkness began forming a body. That is why I will use yours. Naruto's eyes widened. A black force rushed toward him. Sasuke immediately stepped in front. Naruto. Quote. The force hit Sasuke. He was thrown across the archive. Sasuke. Naruto ran toward him. Sasuke stood up. I'm fine. The first law spoke again. Your friendship is irrelevant. Naruto clenched his fist. Don't talk about my friends. He rushed forward. Rasengan. The first law raised one hand. The Rasengan disappeared. Naruto stopped. Sasuke looked at him. It's the same ability. Naruto shook his head. No, it's different. How? Naruto looked at the darkness. It's not rejecting my choice. It's deciding the result. Lyra understood. It controls cause and effect. Naruto nodded. Then we can't fight it with attacks. Quote. Sasuke looked at him. What do we use? Naruto smiled. Uncertainty. Sasuke frowned. Explain. If it can control every result, then we give it a situation with no predetermined result. Lyra looked at Naruto. How? Naruto looked at the golden leaf. By making everyone choose at the same time. Sasuke understood. The first law can't control infinite independent choices. Exactly. Quote. Naruto raised the golden leaf. The entire archive began filling with portals. Every reality appeared. Every person connected to the world tree could see Naruto. Minato, Kushina, Sakura, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Hope, the Unchosen, the young Hokage. Even the people Naruto had never met. Naruto spoke to all of them. Listen. The first law tried to stop him. But the portals continued opening. Naruto continued. Nobody is going to tell you what to choose. Not me. Not the first law. Not reality. You decide. Across the multiverse, people began making choices. Some chose peace. Some chose adventure. Some chose to protect their families. Some chose to forgive. Some chose to start new lives. Millions of different choices appeared simultaneously. The first law began shaking. No, Naruto smiled. You can't control all of them. The first law's voice became louder. I control reality. Naruto answered. Reality is made by people. The golden leaf exploded with light. The first law began breaking apart. Sasuke stared. Naruto, look. The red eye was shrinking. Lyra smiled. It's losing control. But suddenly, the first law laughed. Naruto's expression changed. What? The voice echoed. You still don't understand. Quote, I never needed to control every choice. I only needed one. The first law pointed toward Naruto. Yours. Naruto froze. The entire archive became silent. The first law continued. You are still the bridge. Quote, you are still connected to every reality. And your choices affect them all. Naruto looked at the golden leaf. The first law smiled. Make one wrong choice, and every reality falls. Naruto lowered his hand. Sasuke stepped beside him. Don't listen. The first law whispered. Choose. Naruto closed his eyes. He remembered Minato, Kushina, Sasuke, his friends, every battle, every sacrifice. Then he understood. The first law wasn't asking him to choose between two futures. It wanted Naruto to believe that he was responsible for every future. Naruto opened his eyes. I refuse. The first law stopped. What? Quote. Naruto smiled. I won't choose for them. He released the golden leaf. It belongs to everyone now. The golden leaf split into millions of pieces. Each piece traveled to a different reality. The first law screamed. No. The center disappeared completely. There was no single point controlling everything. Every reality became independent. The first law began fading. Naruto looked at it. You wanted one center. Quote, we gave you millions. The red eye cracked. The first law whispered. Then reality has no master. Naruto smiled. Exactly. The first law disappeared. The archive became peaceful. The masked man stared at Naruto. You actually did it. Naruto looked at him. What will you do now? The masked man removed his cloak. His face was calm. I think I'll finally live my own life. He disappeared into a portal. Sasuke looked at Naruto. So it's over. Naruto nodded. For now. Lyra suddenly looked toward the golden leaf. Naruto. What? There's one piece left. Naruto looked at her hand. A tiny golden fragment was glowing. Lyra held it carefully. It doesn't belong to any reality. Naruto frowned. Then where does it belong? The fragment suddenly formed a symbol. The symbol was an Uzumaki spiral. Naruto stared at it. A voice came from inside. Naruto. He knew the voice immediately. Origin. The voice answered. Your final choice has created something new. Naruto looked at Sasuke. What? Origin replied. A reality with no center. A reality where even the laws can change. Naruto smiled. And what do we call it? Origin answered. You decide. Naruto looked toward the endless white space. Then he smiled. Freedom. The golden fragment disappeared. A new world began forming. And somewhere inside that newborn reality, a child opened his eyes. His first words were simple. Where am I? A golden leaf appeared beside him. And written across it were 4 words. Your story starts here. The world without a center. The child picked up the golden leaf. The moment he touched it, the newborn world came alive. Mountains rose from the ground. Rivers began flowing. Trees grew across the empty land. Above him, thousands of stars appeared. The child looked around. Is this my world? A familiar voice answered. Yes. The child turned. Naruto was standing behind him. The child smiled. Are you the one who created this place? Naruto shook his head. No, you did. The child looked confused. Me. Naruto nodded. This world has no center. No ruler. No fixed destiny. Quote. No single person controlling its future. The child looked at the golden leaf. Then what am I supposed to do? Naruto smiled. Live. The child thought for a moment. That's all. That's everything. Quote. Sasuke appeared beside Naruto. We should leave. Naruto looked at him. Already. Sasuke nodded. This world needs to grow without us. The child looked worried. You're leaving. Naruto knelt beside him. We won't control your future. But if you ever need help. Naruto pointed toward the sky. Look for the golden leaf. The child nodded. I will. Naruto and Sasuke turned away. The child called out, Naruto. Naruto looked back. Will I ever see you again? Naruto smiled. Maybe. The child smiled. Then I'll keep the leaf. Naruto nodded. Good. They walked away. After several minutes, Sasuke spoke. You really trust him? Naruto smiled. I have to. Why? Because that's what freedom means. Sasuke looked toward the new world. You've changed. Naruto laughed. Maybe. They continued walking. Then Naruto suddenly stopped. Sasuke looked at him. What? Naruto looked toward the sky. Something is missing. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. I don't see anything. Naruto closed his eyes. He could feel it. A familiar presence. Someone he thought was gone. Origin. A voice answered. I'm here. Naruto opened his eyes. Where? Everywhere. Naruto smiled. You became part of the world. Origin answered. I became a possibility. Sasuke looked confused. What does that mean? Origin replied. It means I no longer control reality. I exist inside it. Naruto nodded. That's better. Origin laughed. I agree. Suddenly, the sky changed. A massive golden symbol appeared above the new world. Sasuke looked up. What's that? Origin became silent. Naruto noticed. Origin. I don't know. The symbol expanded. Then a second symbol appeared. Then a third. Soon, the entire sky was covered with ancient markings. Naruto looked at them. Do you recognize them? Origin answered. Yes. What do they say? Origin's voice became serious. They are older than the first law. Naruto frowned. Older than the first law? Yes. Then what are they? Origin replied. The rules of the place beyond existence. Sasuke looked at Naruto. There's another level. Naruto sighed. I was afraid you'd say that. Suddenly, the newborn world began shaking. The child dropped the golden leaf. A crack appeared in the ground. A voice came from below. You have created something that should never exist. Naruto immediately turned around. Who are you? The ground opened. A massive staircase appeared beneath the world. At the bottom stood a mysterious figure. He wore a black cloak. His face was hidden, but his voice was calm. You defeated the first law. You defeated the writer. You changed the multiverse. You even created a world without a center. Quote. Naruto stepped forward. Then what's the problem? The figure looked at him. Because now, you have created a world that even I cannot control. Naruto smiled. Sounds like your problem. The figure removed his hood. Naruto froze. Sasuke's eyes widened. The child looked confused. The man standing before them was Naruto, but unlike every other version. His eyes were completely golden. And behind him was a shadow. A shadow shaped like the world tree. The stranger smiled. I am the first Naruto. Naruto stared. The first. The stranger nodded. Before you. Before the Rinnegan Naruto. Quote. Before the Unchosen. Before every version of Naruto. I existed. Naruto tightened his grip on his kunai. What do you want? The first Naruto smiled. To see what you will choose. He raised his hand. The entire newborn world disappeared. Naruto, Sasuke, and the child were left standing in complete darkness. Then the first Naruto spoke. Your final journey begins now. The first Naruto's challenge. The darkness surrounded Naruto, Sasuke, and the child. There was no ground beneath their feet. No sky, no stars, only endless silence. The first Naruto stood before them. Naruto looked at him. You said you are the first Naruto. Quote. Yes. Then tell me something. What? Why do you look like me? The first Naruto smiled. Because you look like me. Naruto frowned. What does that mean? I existed before the first reality. Quote. I was the original possibility of Naruto. Sasuke stepped forward. Then how did you survive? The first Naruto looked at him. I wasn't part of the timeline. I was the idea of what Naruto could become. Quote. Naruto stared at him. So you're not a person. The first Naruto nodded. Not originally, but I became one. The child looked at him. Why? The first Naruto looked toward the child. Because someone had to watch the choices. Quote. Naruto asked. Are you the one who created the golden leaf? No. Then who did? The first Naruto remained silent. Naruto's expression became serious. You know. Yes. Tell me. The first Naruto pointed toward the darkness. Look. A small light appeared. Inside it, Naruto saw the beginning. A single world. A single village. A single child. That child looked exactly like Naruto. But there was no Minato. No Kushina. No Sasuke. The child was completely alone. Naruto watched silently. The first Naruto spoke. This was the original Naruto. Naruto looked shocked. He grew up without anyone. Yes, he never met Iruka. Quote, yes, he never met Sasuke. Yes, he never became a ninja. He did, but he became something else. The vision changed. The original Naruto became stronger. Then stronger. Then stronger. He eventually gained control over reality itself. Naruto stared. What happened to him? The first Naruto answered. He became the first Naruto. Naruto looked at him. You. The first Naruto nodded. I realized that power could never give me what I wanted. What did you want? The first Naruto looked toward Naruto. A family. Naruto became silent. The first Naruto continued. So I created possibilities. Quote, different versions of Naruto. Different worlds. Different families. I wanted to see if one version could find what I never had. Naruto's eyes widened. So all of this started because you were lonely. Quote, the first Naruto nodded. Yes. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Then this entire multiverse was created for him. The first Naruto corrected him. Not for me. For Naruto. He pointed at the younger version. For every version of him. The child stepped forward. Then why did you attack us? The first Naruto smiled. I didn't. Then what was the challenge? I wanted to know if Naruto would repeat my mistake. Quote, Naruto frowned. What mistake? Trying to control everything. The first Naruto looked at the child. You created a world without a center. You gave it freedom. You walked away. That is something I could never do. Quote, Naruto smiled. Then maybe you finally found the answer. The first Naruto looked surprised. What answer? You don't need to control everything. The first Naruto looked down. For the first time, his expression softened. Maybe. Suddenly, the darkness began disappearing. The newborn world returned. Mountains, rivers, stars. The child looked around. We're back. Naruto nodded. The first Naruto stood beside them. But something was wrong. His body was becoming transparent. Naruto looked at him. What's happening? The first Naruto smiled. My purpose is finished. You don't have to disappear. I know. Then stay. The first Naruto shook his head. I can't. Why? Because this world doesn't need a first Naruto anymore. Naruto looked at him. Then what does it need? The first Naruto pointed toward the child. A first choice. The child looked confused. What choice? The first Naruto smiled. You choose what kind of person you want to become. The child looked at Naruto. Naruto nodded. The child looked toward the empty horizon. Then he smiled. I choose to help people. The first Naruto laughed softly. Good. His body turned into golden light. Before disappearing, he looked at Naruto. You became the Naruto I always wanted to be. Quote, Naruto smiled. And you became the Naruto who made it possible. The first Naruto disappeared. A single golden leaf fell from the sky. Naruto caught it. The child looked at him. Is it over? Naruto smiled. For him, Sasuke looked toward the horizon. And for us, Naruto looked ahead. Our journey continues. Suddenly, the golden leaf began glowing. A new portal opened. But this time, it wasn't leading to another reality. It was leading somewhere completely unknown. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Sasuke sighed. I already know what you're going to say. Naruto smiled. Then let's go. The child picked up his own golden leaf. Can I come too? Naruto laughed. Of course. Together, they stepped toward the portal. And beyond it, something was waiting. Something that even the first Naruto had never seen. The place beyond the world. Naruto, Sasuke, and the child stepped through the portal. The moment they arrived, everything became silent. There was no sky, no ground, no stars. The entire place looked like an endless ocean of silver light. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. I can't see the end. Naruto looked around. Me neither. The child pointed ahead. What's that? A small island appeared in the distance. Naruto focused. There was a single tree standing on it. Its leaves were completely black. Naruto's golden leaf began shaking. Sasuke noticed. That's not normal. Naruto nodded. The three of them moved toward the island. As they approached, a voice echoed through the silver space. Why have you come here? Naruto stopped. We don't know. The voice answered. Then you should leave. Naruto looked at the black tree. We can't. Why? Because something here is connected to us. Quote. Silence followed. Then the tree began glowing. A black leaf fell from one of its branches. It floated toward Naruto. The moment Naruto touched it, his vision changed. He saw countless worlds, but these worlds were different. They had no Naruto, no Sasuke, no Minato, no shinobi. They were worlds where Naruto had never been born. Naruto stared. These realities exist too. The voice answered. Yes. Sasuke looked around. Then why did we never see them? Because they rejected the idea of Naruto. Naruto frowned. Why? Because every reality has a balance. When one possibility becomes too powerful, other possibilities disappear. Quote. Naruto looked at the black leaf. So these worlds disappeared because of me? No. The voice became serious. They disappeared because reality was afraid of you. Naruto's expression changed. Afraid of me? You became a being capable of changing reality. You defeated the writer. You defeated the first law. You created a world without a center. And now, you have become something reality cannot predict. Quote. Sasuke stepped forward. What happens if Naruto continues changing things? The voice answered. Reality will create an answer. Naruto looked toward the black tree. What kind of answer? The tree suddenly cracked. A dark figure stepped out. Naruto immediately prepared himself. The figure had no face. Its body was covered in silver markings. It spoke calmly. I am the balance. Naruto stared. The balance. The figure nodded. I exist to correct impossible changes. Sasuke raised his sword. Then you're here to stop Naruto. The balance looked at him. Not yet. Naruto frowned. Then why are you here? Quote. The balance pointed toward the child. I came for him. The child stepped backward. Me. The balance nodded. You are the first being created in a world without a center. You are not controlled by any law. Quote. You have no predetermined destiny. Naruto stepped between them. You're not taking him. The balance answered. That is your choice. Naruto clenched his fist. Yes. The balance looked at him. Then I will test it. The silver ocean disappeared. Naruto suddenly found himself standing in Konoha. But this Konoha was different. Minato was alive. Kushina was alive. Sasuke was beside him. Everyone he loved was there. Naruto looked around. This isn't real. The balance appeared behind him. Perhaps. Naruto looked at Minato. His father smiled. Come home, Naruto. Naruto's heart tightened. Kushina opened her arms. We've been waiting for you. Naruto closed his eyes. For a moment, he wanted to stay. But then he opened them. No. The illusion froze. The balance appeared before him. Why? Naruto answered. Because I know the difference between happiness and control. The illusion shattered. Naruto returned to the silver world. Sasuke looked at him. You passed. Naruto nodded. Where is the child? The balance pointed toward the black tree. The child was standing beneath it. The balance spoke. He made his choice too. Naruto looked at the child. What did he choose? The child smiled. I chose my own future. Quote. The black tree suddenly turned golden. Every black leaf became bright. The silver ocean transformed into a sky filled with stars. The balance stepped backward. Then the test is complete. Naruto looked at him. What happens now? The balance answered. Now I have to do something I have never done before. What? The balance looked toward the child. I have to learn. Naruto smiled. Learn what? How to exist without controlling. Quote. The balance slowly disappeared. Before vanishing, it left one final message. The next time we meet, I may not be your enemy. The child looked at Naruto. Is everyone finally our friend? Naruto laughed. Not everyone. Sasuke smiled. That would make things boring. Suddenly, the golden leaf in Naruto's hand cracked. Naruto looked down. A tiny voice came from inside. Naruto. He immediately recognized it. Origin. The voice answered. Something has happened in the world you created. Naruto's expression became serious. What? Origin replied. The child has been chosen by another force. Naruto looked at the child. By who? Origin's voice became quiet. The force that existed before the first Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened. Sasuke prepared his sword. Another ancient force. Origin answered. No, something much older. Quote. The stars above them suddenly disappeared. One by one. Then a single message appeared across the sky. The beginning remembers you. Naruto looked up, and for the first time since his journey began. He felt afraid. The beginning remembers. The silver world became completely dark. Naruto looked at the message written across the sky. The beginning remembers you. Sasuke stood beside him. Naruto, don't move. Quote. Naruto looked at him. Why? Something is approaching. The child moved closer to Naruto. A deep vibration passed through the ground. Then a voice echoed through the darkness. Naruto Uzumaki. Quote. Naruto raised his head. Who are you? The voice answered. I am the memory of the first beginning. A massive golden eye appeared in the sky. Naruto stared at it. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. I can't see its chakra. Naruto shook his head. It doesn't have chakra. The voice continued. Before Origin created the first reality, there was an empty space. That space remembered everything that happened inside it. Quote. Naruto frowned. You're saying the universe itself has memories? Yes. And now it remembers me. Yes. Naruto looked at the child. Why does it want him? The eye turned toward the child. Because he is the first being born outside the original laws. The child stepped backward. What does that mean? The voice answered. You are the first true freedom. Naruto's expression changed. The voice continued. That is why you must be removed. Naruto stepped in front of the child. No. The eye became brighter. You cannot protect him. Naruto smiled. That's what everyone keeps saying. Quote. Sasuke stepped beside him. Then we'll prove them wrong. The eye released a massive wave of golden energy. Naruto created hundreds of shadow clones. Protect the child. The clones surrounded him. Sasuke activated his Susanoo. Naruto raised the golden leaf. The wave struck. Boom. The entire silver world shook. When the light disappeared, Naruto was still standing. But the golden leaf had cracked. Naruto looked down. How? The voice answered. Because you are fighting memory. What does that mean? You cannot destroy something that has already happened. Naruto understood. So you're not attacking us. Quote. Correct. You are showing us what already happened. Correct. Naruto looked around. Suddenly, images appeared everywhere. Minato sacrificing himself. Naruto growing up alone. Sasuke leaving Konoha. Jiraiya dying. The Fourth Shinobi War. The destruction of countless realities. Every painful memory appeared. The child covered his ears. Make it stop. Naruto knelt beside him. Don't listen. The voice continued. Pain creates identity. Without pain, Naruto would not have become Naruto. Naruto looked at the memories. Maybe. But pain doesn't decide who we become. The eye became silent. Naruto continued. We decide. He stood up. I can't change what happened. I can't erase the past. But I can choose what I do with it. The golden leaf began glowing again. The painful memories started changing. Not disappearing. Changing. Minato's sacrifice became Naruto's motivation. Sasuke's loneliness became their friendship. Jiraiya's death became Naruto's determination. Every loss became a reason to keep moving. The voice became quieter. You are changing memory. Naruto shook his head. No, I'm changing what it means. The eye began cracking. Sasuke looked at Naruto. You're winning. Naruto smiled. No, we're understanding. The child suddenly stepped forward. He looked at the giant eye. I remember too. The eye stopped. The child continued. I remember being alone. I remember being afraid. Quote. But I don't want to erase those memories. I want to learn from them. The golden leaf in the child's hand became bright. A second golden leaf appeared beside Naruto. Then a third appeared. The silver world filled with golden light. The giant eye began shrinking. Before disappearing, it asked one final question. Then what is freedom? Naruto looked at the child. The child smiled. Freedom is choosing what you become after everything that happened to you. Quote. Silence. The eye disappeared. The darkness vanished. Stars returned to the sky. Sasuke lowered his sword. It's over. Naruto nodded. But Origin's voice came from the golden leaf. No. Naruto looked down. Origin, there is one thing you still don't understand. Naruto frowned. What? Origin answered. The beginning didn't attack you because it hated you. Then why? Because it was afraid. Afraid of what? Quote. Origin's voice became serious. Of what the child might become. Naruto looked at the child. The child was staring at his own golden leaf. It was changing. The golden color was turning silver. then black, then completely white. Naruto's expression changed. What's happening to him? Origin answered. He is developing a power that even the first law could not control. Sasuke asked, what power? Quote, Origin replied, the power to create a new beginning. Naruto looked at the child. The child suddenly looked up. His eyes were glowing white. Then he spoke a single sentence. I remember a world that hasn't happened yet. Quote, Naruto froze. Sasuke looked at him. That's impossible. The child smiled. I know. Then the entire sky opened. And Naruto saw a future that had never existed before. The future that has never existed. The sky opened completely. Naruto stared at the vision above him. He saw a massive city floating above the clouds. Shinobi from different realities lived together. Technology and chakra existed side by side. The world tree stood at the center of the city. But something was wrong. The entire city was surrounded by darkness. Sasuke looked at the vision. This future hasn't happened. The child nodded. That's what I saw. Quote, Naruto asked, who is attacking it? The child pointed toward the center. Someone who looks like you. Naruto's expression changed. Another Naruto. The child shook his head. Not another Naruto. Quote, then who? The child answered, you. Naruto stared at him. Me. The vision changed. Naruto saw himself standing in the center of the future city. His eyes were completely white. The golden leaf floated above him. Around him stood Minato, Sasuke, Sakura, Kushina, and countless shinobi. But they were all kneeling. Naruto's expression became serious. That's not me. Sasuke looked at the vision. Are you sure? Quote, Naruto nodded. I would never make everyone kneel. The child looked at him. But that Naruto believes he is saving everyone. Naruto frowned. Saving them from what? The child pointed toward the sky. A giant black sphere appeared above the city. The sphere was swallowing entire realities. Naruto's eyes widened. That's the first law. Origin's voice came from the golden leaf. No. Naruto looked down. Then what is it? Origin answered. That is what happens when the first law is destroyed. Sasuke looked at him. What do you mean? The first law maintained balance. When Naruto destroyed it. Quote. The balance became unstable. Naruto stared at the future. So that Naruto is trying to restore balance. Origin replied, yes, but he chooses control. Naruto clenched his fist. Then I have to stop him. Quote, the child looked at Naruto. But that future hasn't happened. Naruto nodded. Exactly. Sasuke understood. We have a chance to prevent it. The child smiled. That's why I showed it to you. Naruto looked at the child. How did you see a future that hasn't happened? The child shrugged. I don't know. Then his eyes changed again. A new vision appeared. This time, Naruto saw the child standing before the world tree. He was older, much older. He wore a white cloak. And beside him stood Sasuke. Naruto stared. That's you. The child nodded. That's me. Naruto looked at the older version. What happens next? Quote, the vision showed the older child raising his hand. The world tree began disappearing. Sasuke shouted, don't do it. The child continued anyway. The entire multiverse vanished. Naruto's expression changed. Why would he destroy everything? The child answered, because I believed it was the only way to stop the future. Naruto looked at him. You destroy everything. The child nodded. Yes. And then what? Quote, I created another beginning. Naruto became silent. Sasuke looked at him. He's repeating the same cycle. Naruto nodded. Exactly. The child looked down. I don't want to become that person. Quote, Naruto knelt beside him. Then don't. But what if I do? Then someone will remind you. The child looked at Naruto. Who? Naruto smiled. Me. Sasuke sighed. And me. The child smiled. Then I won't be alone. Suddenly, the future vision disappeared. A new portal opened. Naruto looked through it. On the other side was the future city. The city that shouldn't exist yet. Naruto looked at Sasuke. We're going. Sasuke nodded. The child stepped forward. I'm coming too. Naruto smiled. Of course. They entered the portal. The moment they arrived, the sky exploded with lightning. Thousands of shinobi looked toward them. Then someone landed in front of Naruto. It was the future version of himself. White eyes, golden cloak, a black mark across his face. He looked at Naruto. You shouldn't be here. Naruto raised his kunai. Neither should you. The future Naruto smiled. I know. Sasuke stepped forward. Why are you destroying the future? The future Naruto looked at him. Because I already saw what happens if I don't. Quote. Naruto stared at him. Then you know you have another choice. The future Naruto shook his head. That's what I used to believe. He raised his hand. The entire city began shaking. Now I know the truth. Quote. Naruto narrowed his eyes. What truth? The future Naruto answered. Every future where I choose freedom ends with someone I love dying. Naruto's expression changed. The future Naruto looked directly at him. So this time, I choose control. The golden leaf suddenly turned black. And Naruto realized that the final enemy wasn't trying to destroy the future. He was trying to save it in the only way he believed possible. The Naruto who chose control. The future Naruto stood in front of them. His golden cloak moved with the wind. The black mark across his face began glowing. Naruto looked at him. You said everyone dies if you choose freedom. Quote. The future Naruto nodded. Yes. Then tell me who dies. The future Naruto remained silent. Naruto stepped closer. Who? My family. Minato. Yes. Kushina. Yes. Sasuke. The future Naruto looked at Sasuke. Yes. Sasuke's expression became serious. And you think controlling everyone will save us? The future Naruto answered. It is the only way. Naruto shook his head. No, you've forgotten something. Quote. What? People aren't saved by having their choices taken away. The future Naruto raised his hand. The entire city froze. People stopped moving. The wind stopped. Even the clouds stopped. Sasuke tried to move. He couldn't. Naruto struggled. What did you do? I paused the future. The future Naruto walked toward Naruto. I can control every event now. I can stop every war. Prevent every death. Erase every mistake. Quote. Naruto looked at him. Then why do you look unhappy? The future Naruto stopped. Naruto continued. If you truly saved everyone, why are you still afraid? The future Naruto clenched his fist. Because I remember. Remember what? The first person I couldn't save. The future Naruto touched the black mark on his face. It was my daughter. Naruto's eyes widened. You have a daughter. The future Naruto nodded. Her name was Ira. What happened? She wanted to become a shinobi. I told her it was dangerous. She went anyway. She made a choice. And that choice killed her. Quote. Naruto became silent. The future Naruto continued. I promised myself that no one would ever make a choice that could lead to that pain again. Naruto looked at him. So you took away everyone's freedom. Quote. Yes. Because you were afraid of losing someone again. The future Naruto looked away. Naruto stepped closer. I understand. The future Naruto looked at him. You do. Yes. I lost people too. Quote. Minato. Jiraiya. Friends. Entire worlds. But I learned something. What? Pain doesn't mean we should stop people from living. The future Naruto looked at him. Naruto continued. If you remove every dangerous choice, you also remove every beautiful one. The future Naruto remained silent. Sasuke finally spoke. You think you're protecting everyone. But you're only protecting yourself from pain. Quote. The future Naruto looked at Sasuke. You don't understand. Sasuke smiled slightly. I understand better than you think. I spent years running from pain. I thought becoming stronger would erase it. Quote. It didn't. The future Naruto's eyes began changing. The black mark started fading. Naruto noticed. You're listening. The future Naruto shook his head. No, I'm remembering. Suddenly, the city began moving again. People looked around in confusion. The future Naruto lowered his hand. Naruto stepped forward. Give them their choices back. The future Naruto looked at the golden leaf. I can't. Why? Because the black leaf has already chosen for me. Quote. Naruto looked at the golden leaf. It had completely turned black. A voice came from it. Control is safer. Naruto's expression changed. The future Naruto whispered. That voice has been guiding me. Quote. Naruto understood. That's not your voice. The future Naruto looked at him. It's the fear inside you. Naruto raised his hand. The golden leaf in his possession began glowing. The black leaf reacted. Both leaves moved toward each other. The entire future city shook. Origin's voice echoed across the sky. Naruto. Naruto looked upward. What? You must choose. Naruto frowned. Choose what? Whether to destroy the black leaf or save it. Naruto stared at the black leaf. If he destroyed it, the future Naruto might disappear. If he saved it, the power of control could remain. The future Naruto looked at him. Don't save me. Naruto shook his head. I'm not saving you. Then what are you doing? I'm giving you another choice. Naruto reached toward the black leaf. The future Naruto grabbed his hand. Stop. Naruto looked at him. Why? Because if you touch it, you will feel everything I felt. Naruto smiled. Then I'll understand. Their hands touched the black leaf. A massive wave of memories entered Naruto. Ira's death, the future wars, the destruction of worlds, the future Naruto begging reality to change. Naruto felt all of it. He fell to his knees. The future Naruto looked terrified. Now you understand. Quote, Naruto slowly stood. Tears were running down his face. Yes, the future Naruto whispered. Then you know why I chose control. Naruto looked at him. I understand your pain, but I still won't choose your path. Quote, the black leaf cracked. The future Naruto's eyes widened. Why? Naruto answered. Because I know what Ira would have wanted. The future Naruto froze. What? She would have wanted to choose for herself. Quote, the black leaf shattered. The future Naruto collapsed. The city began returning to normal. And from the broken leaf, a young girl's voice whispered. Dad. The future Naruto looked up. Ira's spirit appeared before him. He couldn't speak. Ira smiled. You finally let me choose. The future Naruto began crying. I'm sorry. Ira shook her head. I know. She touched his hand. You were scared, but you don't have to be anymore. Quote, the light around her began fading. The future Naruto reached toward her. Wait. Ira smiled. I'll always be part of your choices. Then she disappeared. The future Naruto closed his eyes. For the first time in years. He smiled. Naruto stood beside him. Are you ready to let the future change? The future Naruto nodded. Yes. But suddenly, the world tree in the distance turned completely black. Sasuke looked toward it. Naruto. Naruto turned. What? The future changed. The future Naruto looked at the tree. His expression became serious. No, it didn't just change. It woke up. The black world tree opened thousands of glowing eyes. And a voice echoed across the city. You have changed my future. Now I will change yours. The world tree awakens. The black world tree towered over the future city. Thousands of glowing eyes opened across its branches. Everyone in the city froze. Naruto looked at the tree. What is that? The future Naruto answered. The world tree. Sasuke stared at it. That isn't the world tree we know. The future Naruto shook his head. No, this is what it becomes when too many realities are changed. Naruto looked at the black branches. Then we stop it. The future Naruto grabbed Naruto's shoulder. You don't understand. The world tree isn't attacking us. Quote, it is correcting the future. Naruto frowned. Correcting it how? The tree released a massive wave of black energy. The entire city began disappearing. Buildings vanished. People vanished. Even the sky began turning black. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. It's erasing everything that doesn't belong to the original timeline. Naruto looked at the future Naruto. Then this entire future is being erased. Yes. The child stepped forward. But this world is our future. The future Naruto looked at him. Exactly. The child raised his golden leaf. Then I won't let it disappear. The black world tree noticed him. Every eye turned toward the child. The tree spoke. You are the error. The child stood firm. I am not an error. You are a possibility that should never have existed. Naruto stepped beside him. Then you'll have to erase me too. Quote, the world tree released another wave. Naruto raised the golden leaf. A golden barrier appeared around them. The impact pushed Naruto backward. Sasuke joined him. Naruto, we can't keep blocking it. Quote, Naruto nodded. We need to reach the tree. The future Naruto pointed toward its trunk. There is a core inside. If we destroy the core, the tree will stop. Naruto looked at him. Can it be destroyed? Quote, the future Naruto hesitated. Yes, but there is a problem. What? The core contains every memory of every reality. Naruto understood. If we destroy it, those memories disappear. Yes. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Then we can't destroy it. Naruto nodded. We have to change it. The future Naruto looked surprised. Change the core. Naruto smiled. We changed the first law. We changed memory. Quote, we changed the future. Why not the world tree? The child stepped forward. I can help. Naruto looked at him. Are you sure? The child nodded. I created this world. Then I should protect it. Quote. Naruto smiled. Good. The four of them rushed toward the world tree. The tree attacked with enormous branches. Sasuke used his Susanoo to block them. Naruto created hundreds of shadow clones. Go. The clones climbed the branches. The future Naruto released golden energy. Stay behind me. The child followed Naruto. They reached the trunk. A massive black door appeared. The future Naruto looked at it. That's the entrance. Naruto touched the door. It opened. Inside was an endless chamber. Millions of memories floated around them. Naruto saw every version of himself. Every victory. Every defeat. Every family. Every friendship. Every world. The child stared in wonder. How can one place hold all of this? The future Naruto answered. Because the world tree remembers everything. Suddenly, one memory appeared before Naruto. He saw Minato. Minato was holding baby Naruto. Kushina was standing beside him. Naruto smiled. Then another memory appeared. Jiraiya was training him. Then another. Sasuke stood beside him during the war. Naruto looked around. These memories are not just information. The future Naruto nodded. They are the identity of every reality. Naruto understood. If we change the memories, we change the worlds. Quote. Sasuke looked toward the center. Then what do we change? Naruto stared at the largest memory. It showed the first moment the world tree was created. A single rule appeared. Every reality must return to its original state. Quote. Naruto stepped forward. That's the problem. The child looked at him. What will you change it to? Naruto smiled. Every reality can choose its own future. The world tree suddenly shook. The memories began spinning faster. A deep voice echoed through the chamber. That rule cannot be changed. Naruto raised the golden leaf. Then watch me. The future Naruto joined him. Sasuke placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder. The child raised his own leaf. 4 different lights merged. The original rule began cracking. The world tree screamed. Outside, the entire city shook. The black branches began turning golden. Naruto shouted, everyone deserves the right to choose. Quote. The rule shattered. A wave of golden energy spread through every reality. The world tree transformed. Its black branches became white. Its thousands of eyes disappeared. And at the center of the tree, a new leaf appeared. It was unlike any golden leaf before it. It had 4 symbols: Naruto, Sasuke, the child, and the future Naruto. The future Naruto stared at it. What did we create? Origin's voice answered from the leaf. Not a weapon, not a law, not a power. Naruto looked at the new leaf. Then what? Origin answered. A promise. The world tree became silent. The future city stabilized. The future Naruto looked at Naruto. For the first time, I don't know what happens next. Naruto smiled. That's the point. Suddenly, the new leaf released a pulse of energy. Far away, in another reality, Minato opened his eyes. He looked toward the sky. Naruto. Kushina stood beside him. What happened? Minato smiled. I think our son just changed the future. But neither of them knew that something else had felt the change. Something that had been sleeping since before the first reality. And now, it was awake. The one who was sleeping. Far beyond the world tree, something opened its eyes. There was no body, no chakra, no form, only consciousness. It had been sleeping before the first reality existed. The moment Naruto changed the world tree's rule, that consciousness awakened. A voice echoed through the endless darkness. Someone changed the beginning. Another voice answered. Who? Naruto Uzumaki. Silence followed. Then the first voice spoke again. Bring him to me. Back in the future city, Naruto suddenly felt a strange presence. He looked around. Did you feel that? Sasuke nodded. Yes. The future Naruto looked toward the sky. I felt it too. The child held his golden leaf tightly. What was that? Naruto shook his head. I don't know. Origin's voice came from the new leaf. I do. Everyone looked at it. Naruto asked, who is it? Origin answered, the sleeper. Sasuke frowned. What's the sleeper? Origin replied, the oldest consciousness in existence. The first thing that became aware before reality was created. Naruto looked toward the world tree. Why does it care about us? Because you changed a rule that it created. Quote. Naruto's expression became serious. What rule? Origin answered, The rule that reality must always have a beginning and an end. Naruto stared. So we broke the cycle. Yes. The future Naruto looked at the child. And now the sleeper wants him. Naruto stepped in front of the child. Then it will have to come through me. Suddenly, the sky split open. A giant black doorway appeared above the city. A voice echoed from inside. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto looked upward. I am here. The voice replied. You have changed reality. Yes. You have changed memory. Yes. You have changed the future. Yes. And now you have changed the beginning. Quote. Naruto raised his kunai. What do you want? The doorway became larger. I want to know why. Naruto frowned. Why what? Why do you continue choosing? Naruto looked confused. The voice continued. Every creature I have observed eventually chooses survival. You chose freedom. Every world chooses control when threatened. You chose uncertainty. Every reality tries to return to its origin. Quote. You created a new future. Naruto smiled. So you finally understand. The voice became silent. Naruto continued. People choose because they are alive. The doorway shook. Then prove it. Naruto looked at Sasuke. How? The voice answered. I will give you one final choice. The sky turned completely black. 3 portals appeared. The first showed Naruto's family. The second showed every lost person Naruto had ever known. The third showed a completely new world. The voice spoke. Choose one. Naruto stared. Sasuke stepped beside him. Don't do it. Naruto looked at him. What? This is another test. Naruto nodded. I know. The future Naruto looked at the portals. Which one will you choose? Naruto remained silent. The child suddenly stepped forward. I choose none. Everyone looked at him. Naruto smiled. The voice became silent. The child continued. You gave us 3 choices. But you never said we had to accept them. The future Naruto smiled. Sasuke laughed quietly. He's learning fast. Naruto looked toward the doorway. That's our answer. The voice finally spoke. You reject the choice. Naruto answered. No, we create another one. The 3 portals began merging. The family, the lost friends, the unknown future. All 3 became one new reality. The sleeper's voice became louder. Impossible. Naruto raised the new leaf. Nothing is impossible when people choose together. The portals merged completely. A new world appeared. A world where Naruto's family was alive. His lost friends were remembered. And the future remained unknown. The sleeper became silent. Then the doorway closed. For a moment, everything was peaceful. Naruto lowered his hand. It's over. Origin suddenly spoke. No. Naruto looked down. What now? Origin answered. The sleeper didn't lose. Sasuke's expression changed. Then what happened? Origin replied. It learned. Naruto looked toward the sky. The black doorway was gone. But a single golden eye remained. Watching. Waiting. The sleeper spoke one final sentence. You have shown me why freedom matters. Quote. Naruto smiled. Good. The voice continued. Now I want to experience it. Naruto's smile disappeared. How? The eye opened completely. I will become human. Everyone froze. The sleeper began descending toward the world. And Naruto realized that the greatest threat was no longer trying to destroy reality. It wanted to live inside it. The sleeper becomes human. The golden eye descended from the sky. The entire future city became silent. Naruto stared upward. You really want to become human? The sleeper answered. Yes. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Why? The golden eye looked toward him. Because I have watched humanity for longer than you can imagine. Quote. I have seen your wars. Your sacrifices. Your friendships. Your mistakes. But I have never experienced any of them. Naruto understood. You want to know what it feels like. Correct. Quote. The golden eye began changing. Its light condensed into a human shape. First came the hands. Then the body. Then a face. A young man appeared before them. He had silver hair and golden eyes. He looked completely human. The child stared at him. Are you really the sleeper? The young man nodded. I am. Naruto stepped forward. What's your name? The sleeper looked confused. I never needed one. Naruto smiled. Then choose one. The sleeper thought for a moment. Eren. Naruto nodded. Eren it is. Eren looked at his hands. He moved his fingers. Then he touched the ground. He smiled. So this is what it feels like. Quote. Sasuke watched carefully. You still have your power. Eren nodded. Yes. Naruto frowned. That's dangerous. Eren looked at him. Why? Because you have the power to change reality. Eren smiled. So do you. Naruto paused. That's different. How? Naruto thought about it. Because I learned that power isn't everything. Eren nodded. Then teach me. Naruto smiled. First lesson. What? Quote. Don't use your power unless you really need to. Eren looked around. Understood. The child walked toward him. Second lesson. Eren looked at him. What's the second lesson? The child smiled. Make friends. Eren looked confused. How? Naruto laughed. That one takes time. For the first time, Eren laughed too. But suddenly, the new world tree began shaking. Sasuke turned around. Something is wrong. The future Naruto looked at the tree. The tree is reacting to Eren. Naruto frowned. Why? Origin answered. Because Eren is not supposed to exist inside reality. Eren looked at himself. Then perhaps I should leave. Naruto shook his head. No. Why? You wanted to experience life. Yes. Then you don't run away because life becomes difficult. Eren smiled. I like that lesson. Quote. The world tree released a wave of energy. The city began changing. Buildings shifted. People's memories changed. Some people suddenly forgot their families. Others forgot where they lived. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. The world tree is trying to reject Eren. Naruto looked at the tree. Then we'll convince it. The future Naruto stepped forward. How? Naruto raised the new 4-symbol leaf. We already changed its rules once. Quote. Let's do it again. The child raised his leaf. Eren placed his hand over it. Sasuke joined them. The 4 symbols began glowing. The world tree reacted. A voice came from its trunk. You cannot add a new existence. Quote. Naruto answered. Why? Because he has no beginning. Eren looked at Naruto. What does that mean? Naruto smiled. It means we give you one. Eren's eyes widened. How? Naruto looked toward the people of the city. Through their memories, everyone began remembering Eren. The moment he arrived. The moment he chose his name. The moment he laughed. The moment he tried to understand friendship. The moments became memories. Those memories spread through the world tree. The tree began changing. The black marks disappeared. The branches turned golden. A new root formed. The root connected to Eren. The world tree spoke again. He has a beginning. Naruto smiled. And now he belongs here. The city stabilized. Eren looked at his hands. For the first time, he could feel something he had never experienced before. A heartbeat. He placed his hand on his chest. My heart is beating. Naruto smiled. Welcome to life. Eren looked at him. Thank you. Suddenly, the sky became bright. A new sun appeared above the future city. Everyone looked upward, but far beyond the world tree. A tiny crack appeared in space. No one noticed it. Something was looking through it. A voice whispered, the sleeper has become human. Another voice answered, then the experiment has begun. The crack slowly widened, and somewhere beyond reality, someone was watching Naruto. The one watching Naruto. The future city had finally become peaceful. Eren was learning what it meant to live as a human. He watched people laughing in the streets. He tasted food for the first time. He tried to understand why children played games without any reason. Naruto watched him from a distance. Sasuke stood beside him. He is changing quickly. Naruto smiled. That's what happens when you finally get to experience life. Suddenly, Naruto felt something. He looked toward the sky. Someone is watching us. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. I don't see anyone. Naruto pointed toward a small crack in space. There. Sasuke stared. That's not a normal dimensional crack. The crack widened. A single eye appeared inside it. Naruto immediately became serious. Everyone stay back. Eren walked toward Naruto. What is that? Naruto shook his head. I don't know. A voice came through the crack. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto stepped forward. Show yourself. The voice laughed. You defeated the first law. You changed the world tree. You turned the sleeper into a human. And now you believe the story is over. Naruto tightened his grip. What do you want? Quote. The voice answered. I want to see what happens when the hero becomes the cause of the problem. Naruto frowned. The cause. The crack expanded. A figure stepped through. He wore a long white cloak. His face was hidden, but his chakra was enormous. Sasuke immediately activated his Rinnegan. Naruto. I know. The figure removed his hood. Everyone froze. He looked exactly like Naruto. But his eyes were completely black. Eren stepped backward. Another Naruto. The stranger smiled. No. Naruto stared at him. Then who are you? The stranger answered. I am the result. Naruto's expression changed. The result of what? Quote, every choice you have made. Sasuke stepped forward. That's impossible. The stranger smiled. You changed reality. You changed the first law. You changed memory. You changed the future. Quote, you gave the sleeper a human body. Every change created consequences. Naruto narrowed his eyes. And you are one of them. The stranger nodded. I am the consequence that reality could not erase. Quote, Naruto looked at Eren. Why did you come here? The stranger looked toward Eren. Because he is the reason I exist. Eren looked confused. Me, yes, you were never supposed to become human. Quote, your existence created a contradiction. And contradictions create me. Naruto stepped between them. You're not touching him. The stranger laughed. You still think this is about him? Naruto frowned. What else could it be? The stranger pointed at Naruto. It's about you. Naruto froze. The stranger continued. Every time you saved a world, another world paid the price. Every time you changed fate. Quote. Another fate was destroyed. Every time you created freedom, something else lost its place. Naruto shook his head. I never wanted that. I know. Then why blame me? Because intention does not erase consequence. Quote. The stranger raised his hand. The entire city suddenly disappeared. Naruto, Sasuke, Eren, and the stranger were left in a white void. Naruto looked around. Where are we? The stranger answered. The space between choices. Sasuke looked at him. What does that mean? It is where every rejected possibility remains. Naruto stared at the endless white space. He could see millions of shadows. Different versions of events. Different decisions. Different lives. The stranger spoke. Every time Naruto chose one path, the others were abandoned. Naruto looked at the shadows. Some showed him living with Minato. Some showed him never meeting Sasuke. Some showed him becoming Hokage. Others showed him becoming something much darker. Naruto whispered, all these lives could have happened. The stranger nodded. Yes. Eren looked at Naruto. Can we save them? The stranger smiled. No. Why? Because if you restore every possibility, the multiverse will collapse. Naruto clenched his fist. Then what do you want? Quote. The stranger looked directly at him. I want you to make one final choice. Naruto waited. The stranger raised his hand. Two paths appeared. The first showed Naruto returning to his original world. Minato, Kushina, Sasuke, Sakura, and everyone he loved were waiting for him. The second showed the newborn world. Eren, the future city, the new world tree, everyone Naruto had helped. The stranger spoke. Choose. Naruto stared at both paths. Sasuke stepped beside him. Naruto. Naruto looked at him. Sasuke smiled. Don't let anyone force you to choose. Naruto understood. He looked at the stranger. I reject the choice. The stranger's smile disappeared. What? Naruto raised the golden leaf. You gave me two paths. I'm creating a third. The stranger's eyes widened. You cannot. Naruto smiled. That's what everyone keeps telling me. The golden leaf began glowing. The white void started cracking. The stranger took a step backward. For the first time, he looked afraid. And behind him, the rejected realities began waking up. The rejected realities. The white void began shaking. Thousands of cracks appeared around Naruto. Behind each crack was a different reality. One showed Naruto growing up with Minato and Kushina. Another showed Sasuke becoming Hokage. Another showed Naruto never becoming a shinobi. Another showed Naruto becoming the leader of a peaceful world. Countless possibilities were awakening. Sasuke stared at them. Naruto, this is dangerous. Naruto nodded. I know. The stranger looked terrified. Stop this. Naruto looked at him. You said these realities were rejected. They were. Then why are they waking up? Quote. The stranger clenched his fist. Because you are giving them a choice. Naruto smiled. Exactly. Eren looked at the endless realities. Can they become real? Naruto answered. Not all of them. Quote. Then what happens? Each one decides. The stranger shouted. That's impossible. Naruto turned toward him. Why? Because only one reality can become the main reality. Naruto shook his head. That was the old rule. The golden leaf glowed brighter. We changed the rules. Suddenly, the rejected realities began communicating with each other. Different versions of Naruto appeared. One Naruto wore a Hokage cloak. Another wore black armor. Another was a scientist. Another was a wandering shinobi. Another had never learned ninjutsu. They all looked at the original Naruto. The Hokage Naruto spoke first. Are we real? Quote, Naruto answered, you are possibilities. The dark Naruto stepped forward. Then why should we disappear? Naruto remained silent. He understood their pain. Every one of them had lived a different life. Every one of them had made different choices. The stranger suddenly attacked. A massive wave of black energy destroyed several realities. Naruto's eyes widened. Stop. The stranger shouted. If they survive, everything will collapse. Quote, Naruto rushed forward. Then we'll find another way. Sasuke followed. The future Naruto appeared beside them. Eren raised his hand. The four of them attacked together. Golden energy collided with black energy. The void exploded. The stranger was pushed backward. Naruto looked at him. You don't have to destroy them. The stranger shook his head. You don't understand. Then explain. The stranger lowered his hand. I was one of them. Naruto froze. What? The stranger pointed toward himself. I was the possibility that chose to protect everyone. I became the consequence. I existed only because you rejected that path. Quote, Naruto stared at him. So you're one of the rejected Narutos? Yes. Then why are you against us? The stranger looked at the surrounding realities. Because I learned something. What? Not every possibility deserves to exist. Quote, Naruto frowned. Who decides that? The stranger answered. Someone has to. Naruto shook his head. No, that's exactly the mistake we've been fighting. The stranger looked at him. You think freedom means everyone gets everything. Quote, no. Naruto raised the golden leaf. Freedom means everyone gets a chance. The stranger remained silent. Then one of the rejected realities began collapsing. A Naruto inside it was holding a little girl. He looked toward the original Naruto. Please. Naruto's expression changed. The reality was disappearing. Naruto reached toward it. The golden leaf released a wave of energy. The collapsing world stopped. Sasuke stared. You saved it. Naruto nodded. But I can't save all of them alone. Eren stepped forward. Then don't. Naruto looked at him. Eren raised his hand. The future Naruto joined him. Then Sasuke. One by one, the different versions of Naruto began connecting their power. The void filled with golden light. The rejected realities stopped collapsing. The stranger stared in disbelief. What are you doing? Naruto answered, sharing the burden. Every Naruto contributed something. One gave courage. Another gave knowledge. Another gave strength. Another gave compassion. Another gave sacrifice. Different lives. Different choices. One purpose. The white void transformed. The realities stopped fighting for survival. Instead, they began forming connections. The stranger slowly lowered his hand. Naruto looked at him. You don't have to be the enemy. The stranger looked at the countless Narutos. What would I become then? Naruto smiled. Another possibility. The stranger's black eyes began turning golden. For the first time, he smiled. I think I like that. Suddenly, the void became silent. A massive door appeared behind them. The door was older than the first law. Older than the world tree. Older than the sleeper. The stranger looked at it. His smile disappeared. No. Naruto turned. What? The stranger whispered. That's the door I was created to protect. Sasuke stepped forward. What's behind it? The stranger looked at Naruto. The place where all rejected possibilities come from. Naruto tightened his grip on the golden leaf. Then we finally found the beginning. The ancient door slowly opened. And from the darkness behind it. A voice spoke. Naruto Uzumaki. Come inside. We have been waiting for you. The door of possibilities. The ancient door stood open. Darkness filled the space beyond it. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Are you ready? Sasuke smiled. At this point, I stopped expecting normal. Eren stepped forward. The future Naruto followed. The former rejected Naruto remained behind them. Naruto looked at him. What's your name? The stranger thought for a moment. I never had one. Naruto smiled. Then choose one. The stranger looked toward the countless realities. Ren. Naruto nodded. Welcome, Ren. Quote. Together, they entered the ancient door. The moment Naruto crossed the threshold, everything changed. There were no stars, no planets, no world tree. Instead, countless glowing doors floated through an endless darkness. Each door contained a different possibility. Naruto walked toward one. Inside it, he saw himself as a child. Minato was holding him. Kushina was laughing. Naruto smiled. Then he looked at another. In that world, Sasuke had never lost his family. Another showed Jiraiya living peacefully. Another showed the Fourth Shinobi War never happening. Naruto whispered, "All these possibilities." Ren answered, "They were created before any reality became permanent." Sasuke looked at him. "Who created them?" Ren pointed ahead. "I don't know." A massive structure appeared in the distance. It looked like a throne made from countless doors. Someone was sitting on it. Naruto stopped. The figure slowly stood. It had no face, no body, only a cloak made of glowing symbols. A voice echoed through the darkness. "Welcome, Naruto." Naruto stepped forward. "Who are you?" The figure answered, "I am the Keeper." Naruto frowned. "Keeper of what?" "Possibilities." Sasuke asked, "Why did you bring us here?" The Keeper looked at Naruto. "I did not bring you." Quote, "You opened the door." Naruto looked behind him. The ancient door had disappeared. Aaron's expression changed. "We're trapped." The Keeper corrected him. "No, you are exactly where you chose to be." Quote, Naruto looked at the Keeper. "What do you want?" The Keeper raised his hand. Thousands of doors appeared around Naruto. "Choose one." Naruto shook his head. "We've already been through this." The Keeper smiled. "These choices are different." "How?" "Each door contains a life you could have lived." Naruto looked around. "You want me to choose a different life?" "No, I want you to understand the cost of your choices." Quote, the Keeper opened the first door. Naruto saw himself living peacefully with his parents. No war, no loneliness, no pain. The second door showed Naruto becoming Hokage without losing anyone. The third showed him traveling the world with Sasuke. The fourth showed him living a normal life. Naruto stared at them. They were all beautiful. The Keeper asked, "Which one do you want?" Naruto remained silent. Sasuke spoke. "Don't answer." Naruto looked at him. "Why?" "Because the Keeper isn't testing what you want. He's testing what you regret." Naruto understood. The Keeper smiled. "Very intelligent." Sasuke narrowed his eyes. "What happens if Naruto chooses?" Quote, "He becomes that possibility. And his current life, it will disappear." Eren stepped forward. "Then nobody should choose." The Keeper looked at him. "Then why are you here?" Eren answered, "Because Naruto taught me something." "What?" "That having choices doesn't mean you have to accept them." The Keeper became silent. Naruto smiled. "He's right." The Keeper looked toward Ren. "And you?" Quote, Ren answered, "I spent my existence trying to force one future. Now I want to see what happens when nobody does." The Keeper's symbols began glowing. For the first time, he looked uncertain. "You are changing." Quote, Naruto nodded. "That's what people do." The Keeper suddenly raised both hands. Every door opened. Millions of possibilities flooded the chamber. Each one showed a different Naruto. Different families. Different friends. Different futures. Different endings. The Keeper spoke. "Then prove your belief. Save them all." Naruto stared. "You want me to save every possibility?" "Yes. But that's impossible." Quote, the Keeper smiled. "Exactly." Naruto looked at the endless possibilities. Then he understood. The Keeper wasn't asking him to win. He was asking him to accept that some possibilities would disappear. Naruto closed his eyes. "I can't save every life." The Keeper waited. "But I can respect every choice." The doors began glowing. Naruto continued. "Some possibilities will exist. Some will end. Quote, some will never happen. But that doesn't make them meaningless." The Keeper looked at him. Naruto opened his eyes. The value of a life isn't decided by how many realities it survives. The chamber became silent. The Keeper slowly lowered his hands. "Then you understand." "Understand what?" "Why possibilities exist." The throne behind the Keeper began disappearing. The Keeper's body started breaking into light. Naruto looked surprised. "What are you doing?" The Keeper answered, "My purpose is complete. You were never meant to control the possibilities. You were meant to choose your own." The Keeper vanished. The ancient doors began closing. Ren looked around. "What's happening?" Sasuke looked toward the center. "The place is collapsing." Naruto nodded. "Then we need to leave." A portal opened. But before they could enter, a small door remained open. Inside it was a world Naruto had never seen. A world where nobody had ever heard the name Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto stared at it. Then a voice came from inside. Naruto. Quote. He stopped. The voice sounded familiar. It was Minato, but different, older, serious, and afraid. Do not enter this world. Naruto's expression changed. Why? Minato's voice answered. Because this is the reality where you were never born. Quote. The door slowly opened wider. And Naruto saw what existed there. A world that had survived without him. The world without Naruto. Naruto stood before the final door. Beyond it was a world completely different from every reality he had seen. There was no Konoha symbol. No shinobi. No chakra. No golden leaf. The people lived ordinary lives. Sasuke looked inside. This world never had Naruto. Ren nodded. That's why it's so different. Quote. Eren looked at Naruto. Do you want to enter? Naruto remained silent. The voice of the alternate Minato came again. Naruto, don't come here. Naruto looked around. Where are you? A man appeared on the other side of the door. He looked like Minato, but his face was older. His eyes carried years of sadness. Naruto stepped closer. You're my father. The alternate Minato shook his head. I'm a version of your father. What happened here? Quote. Minato looked toward the city. Nothing. Naruto frowned. Nothing. That's the problem. Minato explained. In this world, there was no Naruto. So the Nine Tails attack never happened the same way. Quote. Kushina survived. I remained a shinobi. Konoha became powerful. Nobody needed to save the village. Naruto looked surprised. Then everyone should be happy. Minato shook his head. They were. Quote. For a while. Naruto asked. What changed? Minato looked at him. Without Naruto, certain people never met. Certain friendships never happened. Certain enemies were never stopped. Certain wars never ended. Quote. Naruto looked at Sasuke. What about you? Minato pointed toward the city. Look. Sasuke walked through the door. Naruto followed. They entered a huge city. Everything looked peaceful, but there was something strange. People were walking past each other without speaking. Families were together, yet nobody seemed truly connected. Sasuke looked around. This world has peace. Naruto nodded, but no bonds. Minato appeared beside them. Exactly. Naruto asked. Why? Because many of the bonds that changed our world began with you. Naruto looked at him. You mean my existence caused people to connect? Yes, but I also caused pain. Quote. Minato nodded. Both are true. Naruto looked at the peaceful city. I don't know if that's a good thing. Minato smiled. That's the question I wanted you to answer. Naruto turned toward him. What question? If you could erase all your pain, would you? Naruto thought about it. He remembered his childhood, his loneliness, his battles, Jiraiya, the war, Minato, Kushina, every loss. Then he remembered the people he met because of those experiences. Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, Hinata, his friends, his family. Naruto shook his head. No. Minato smiled. Why? Because if I erase the pain. Quote. I might erase the people who helped me overcome it. Minato nodded. That is why this world is incomplete. Naruto looked around. Can we change it? Minato shook his head. No. Why? Because this world has its own path. Quote. Naruto understood. We shouldn't force it to become our world. Exactly. Eren stepped forward. Then what should we do? Naruto smiled. Nothing. Eren looked confused. Nothing. This world doesn't need us to save it. Quote. It needs to choose for itself. Suddenly, a young boy approached them. He looked about Naruto's age when he first entered the academy. The boy stared at Naruto. Who are you? Naruto smiled. Just someone passing through. Quote. The boy looked at Sasuke. Are you shinobi? Sasuke shook his head. Not here. The boy looked at Eren. Then why did you come? Eren smiled. To learn. The boy laughed. Learn what? How people live. Quote. The boy smiled. Then come with me. Naruto looked at him. Where? There is a festival tonight. Naruto smiled. Sounds good. Sasuke looked surprised. You're going to a festival? Naruto laughed. Why not? For the first time, Naruto walked through a world where he had never existed. He saw people laughing, children playing, families celebrating, and slowly, something unexpected happened. The boy who had never known Naruto began making friends with the people around him. A small group formed, then another. The peaceful world began changing. Not because Naruto changed it. Because the people chose to change it themselves. Minato watched from a distance. He smiled. Maybe that's the answer. Naruto looked at him. What? You don't need to exist in every world. You only need to leave people with the courage to create their own bonds. Quote. Naruto nodded. Then the golden leaf suddenly began glowing. Origin's voice echoed. Naruto. Naruto looked down. What happened? This world has made its first choice. The city began glowing. Not golden, not silver. A completely new color appeared. A color Naruto had never seen before. The people looked toward the sky. A new symbol appeared. It wasn't the leaf. It wasn't the world tree. It wasn't a symbol of any known reality. It was a symbol of choice. Naruto smiled. This world has found its own path. Sasuke nodded. Then we should leave. Naruto looked at the alternate Minato. Goodbye, Dad. Minato smiled. Goodbye, Naruto. The portal opened. Naruto, Sasuke, Eren, and Ren stepped toward it. But before Naruto entered, the alternate Minato called out. Naruto. Naruto turned. Minato looked serious. Something followed you into this world. Naruto's smile disappeared. What? Minato pointed toward the sky. A dark crack had appeared above the city. Naruto stared. Minato whispered. It wasn't here before you arrived. The crack began opening, and from inside it, someone stepped out. Someone Naruto recognized immediately. It was the masked Minato. The Minato who refused to disappear. The masked Minato stepped out of the dark crack. Naruto immediately moved in front of the alternate Minato. Dad, stay back. The alternate Minato looked at the masked man. Who is he? Naruto's expression became serious. He's the Minato who tried to control the merged realities. The masked Minato removed his mask. His black hair and red eyes were visible. He looked at Naruto. You have changed. Naruto tightened his grip on the golden leaf. So have you. The masked Minato smiled. I have learned something. Sasuke stepped forward. What? Destroying realities was never the answer. Naruto looked surprised. Then why are you here? The masked Minato looked toward the ordinary city. Because this world is the final proof. Naruto frowned. Proof of what? That Naruto can exist without being Naruto. Everyone became silent. The alternate Minato looked confused. The masked Minato continued. I have watched thousands of realities. In every one, Naruto becomes important. In every one, people gather around him. In every one, his choices change history. But this world is different. Naruto nodded. Because I was never born here. The masked Minato looked at the people celebrating in the streets. And yet they are beginning to form the same bonds. Naruto smiled. Because people don't need me to choose friendship. Exactly. The masked Minato lowered his weapon. That's what I failed to understand. Sasuke looked at Naruto. He's finally letting go. Quote. Suddenly, the dark crack behind the masked Minato began expanding. The masked Minato turned around. No. Naruto looked at him. What happened? Something followed me. A massive shadow appeared inside the crack. The sky darkened. The ordinary people began running. The alternate Minato raised his kunai. Everyone get inside. Naruto looked at the shadow. Who is that? The masked Minato answered. The one who created me. Quote. Naruto's eyes widened. You were created. Yes. By whom? The shadow stepped through the crack. A massive figure appeared. Its body was covered in black armor. Its face was hidden, but two white eyes stared at Naruto. The figure spoke. Minato Namikaze. The masked Minato stepped forward. You shouldn't have followed me. The figure laughed. You were never meant to escape. Naruto raised his kunai. Who are you? Quote. The figure looked at him. I am the architect. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. The architect. The masked Minato nodded. He created the first versions of us. Naruto stared. Why? The architect answered. To test the limits of possibility. You were experiments. Yes. Then what do you want? The architect pointed toward Naruto. To finish the experiment. Naruto stepped forward. The experiment ends here. Quote. The architect smiled. No, it ends when you make your final choice. Naruto frowned. What choice? The architect raised his hand. The entire world froze. People stopped moving. The wind stopped. Even the alternate Minato became motionless. Only Naruto, Sasuke, Eren, Ren, and the masked Minato could move. The architect spoke. You have spent this journey protecting every possibility. You rejected control. Quote. You rejected predetermined destiny. You created freedom. Now I will show you its greatest weakness. The architect opened his hand. A small image appeared. Naruto saw Minato, Kushina, Sasuke, Sakura, his friends, his family, everyone he loved. But they were trapped inside a collapsing reality. Naruto's eyes widened. Let them go. The architect shook his head. Choose. Naruto clenched his fists. Choose what? Save them, or save this world. Naruto looked toward the ordinary city. Then he looked at the image of his family. The masked Minato spoke quietly. Don't make the same mistake I did. Quote, Naruto looked at him. What did you choose? I chose the people I loved. And destroyed everything else. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Sasuke understood immediately. This is another false choice. Quote, Naruto nodded. He looked at the architect. You still don't understand. The architect's eyes narrowed. What? Naruto raised the golden leaf. I don't have to choose between them. The architect laughed. You cannot save both. Naruto smiled. Then I'll create a way. The golden leaf began glowing. Sasuke joined Naruto. Eren raised his hand. Ren stepped forward. The masked Minato looked at them. Then he smiled. I'll help too. The 5 powers merged. The frozen world began moving again. The collapsing reality appeared above the city. Naruto shouted, everyone, choose. The people looked toward the sky. The ordinary citizens saw the collapsing world. They saw Naruto's family. They saw the danger. Then the young boy who had met Naruto stepped forward. I choose to help. Another person raised their hand. Me too. Then another. And another. Soon, thousands of people were standing together. They weren't shinobi. They didn't have special powers. But they had something else. The courage to choose. The architect stared in disbelief. Impossible. Naruto smiled. That's freedom. The people's combined determination created a new energy. It wasn't chakra. It wasn't reality energy. It was something completely different. The new symbol appeared above the city again. The symbol of choice. The energy reached the collapsing reality. The people inside it began appearing in the city. One by one. Minato, Kushina, Sakura, Hinata, Jiraiya, everyone Naruto had lost. They were alive. Naruto stared at them. Dad. Minato smiled. We're here. Naruto's eyes filled with tears. The architect stepped backward. You changed the rules again. Quote, Naruto shook his head. No, we discovered a rule you never understood. The architect asked, what rule? Naruto looked at the people standing together. People become stronger when they choose together. Quote, the architect's armor began cracking. The masked Minato stepped toward him. Your experiment is over. The architect looked at him. You were my creation. The masked Minato smiled. And now I'm my own person. Quote, he struck the architect. The black armor shattered. A massive explosion of light filled the sky. When the light disappeared, the architect was gone. The masked Minato looked at Naruto. For the first time, I made my own choice. Quote, Naruto smiled. Welcome to freedom. But far away, inside the deepest part of the multiverse, a tiny fragment of the architect survived. And it whispered, the experiment was never about Naruto. Quote, it was about the one standing beside him. The fragment turned toward Eren. And Eren suddenly felt a strange pain in his chest. The secret inside Eren. Eren suddenly dropped to his knees. Naruto rushed toward him. Eren held his chest. I don't know what's happening. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. Something is inside him. Naruto looked at the golden leaf. It was glowing brighter than before. Ren stepped closer. That's not normal. The masked Minato stared at Eren. Architect. Naruto looked at him. What? The architect left something behind. Eren suddenly looked up. His golden eyes had turned completely black. A strange symbol appeared on his forehead. Naruto stepped backward. Eren's voice changed. You shouldn't have defeated him. Naruto froze. Sasuke immediately drew his sword. That's not Eren. Quote, the voice coming from Eren was deeper. I am the architect's final creation. Naruto clenched his fist. Let Eren go. The figure laughed. He is not trapped. What do you mean? I am part of him. Quote, Eren's body began glowing. A massive image appeared behind him. It showed the beginning of everything. Before the first reality. Before the first Naruto. Before the sleeper. Before the world tree. There was only a small point of light. The masked Minato stared. That's the original source. Naruto looked at him. Source of what? Everything. The voice inside Eren answered. The architect did not create reality. Quote, he discovered the source. He used it to create possibilities. Naruto looked at Eren. And Eren, he is connected directly to it. Sasuke's eyes widened. That's why the world tree accepted him. Quote, yes. That's why the sleeper became human. Yes. That's why reality keeps changing around him. Yes. Naruto stepped forward. Then what are you? The voice answered. I am the source's guardian. Quote, Naruto frowned. Then why did the architect create you? To control Eren. Eren suddenly cried out. Naruto grabbed his shoulder. Fight it. Eren looked at him. I am trying. The black symbol spread across his face. Naruto held his hand. Remember what you learned. Eren's eyes trembled. Choice. Naruto nodded. Yes. You chose your name. You chose your friends. You chose to become human. Now choose who you want to be. Quote, the black symbol stopped spreading. The voice became angry. He cannot choose. Eren looked at Naruto. Why not? Because I was created. Naruto shook his head. Creation doesn't decide destiny. Quote, Eren closed his eyes. For a moment, everything became silent. Then the black symbol began disappearing. The voice screamed. No. Eren opened his eyes. They were golden again. I choose. The black energy exploded out of his body. A massive shockwave hit the city. Naruto protected everyone with the golden leaf. When the light disappeared, Eren was standing alone. The symbol was gone. Naruto smiled. You did it. Eren looked at his hands. I chose myself. Sasuke lowered his sword. But the source is still connected to you. Eren nodded. I can feel it. Naruto asked. What does it want? Eren looked toward the sky. It wants to meet you. Quote, Naruto frowned. Me. Eren nodded. It says you are the only person who can decide what happens next. Naruto looked at the others. The masked Minato. Ren. Sasuke. The future Naruto. Everyone was waiting. Naruto looked at Eren. Then we'll go. Sasuke sighed. I knew you would say that. The masked Minato smiled. Wherever you go, trouble follows. Naruto laughed. Maybe. Eren raised his hand. A portal opened. But this portal was different. It wasn't connected to a reality. It wasn't connected to the world tree. It wasn't connected to the multiverse. It led directly to the source. Naruto stepped toward it. Before entering, he looked back at the people he had saved. Minato smiled. Kushina waved. Sakura smiled. Jiraiya laughed. Sasuke stood beside Naruto. Ren looked toward the portal. The future Naruto nodded. Naruto smiled. Let's find out how everything began. They entered. The portal closed behind them. Inside was complete silence. Then a voice spoke. Not from the sky. Not from the ground. It came from everywhere. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto looked around. Yes. The voice answered. You have changed reality more times than anyone before you. Naruto asked. Are you the source? Yes. What do you want from me? Quote. The source became silent. Then it asked. Do you want to know why you survived? Naruto froze. Sasuke looked at him. Survived what? The source answered. The night you were supposed to die. Naruto's eyes widened. You mean the night of the Nine Tails attack? Yes. Naruto stepped forward. Why did I survive? The source replied. Because someone changed your destiny before you were born. Quote. Naruto stared. Who? The source answered with a name that made everyone freeze. Minato Namikaze. Naruto whispered. My father. The source continued. Your father didn't only save you that night. Quote. He changed the destiny of the entire multiverse. And then the source revealed what Minato had done before Naruto was even born. The secret of Minato. The source's words echoed through the endless darkness. Minato Namikaze changed your destiny before you were born. Naruto stared ahead. How? The source answered. Because Minato discovered the existence of the multiverse. Sasuke's eyes widened. That was impossible. Quote. Not for Minato. A vision appeared. Minato was standing inside a strange dimension. He was younger. His hair was glowing golden. In front of him was the original golden leaf. Naruto watched silently. The source continued. Before the Nine Tails attack, Minato entered a place beyond time. He discovered that every possible future contained a different Naruto. Some became heroes. Some became villains. Quote. Some never became shinobi. Some never existed. Naruto looked at the different versions. Why would Dad know about all this? The source replied. Because he was searching for a way to save you. Quote. The vision changed. Minato saw one future. Naruto was dead. Another. Kushina was dead. Another. Both were dead. Another showed Konoha destroyed. Minato clenched his fists. Then he saw one final possibility. Naruto survived. Kushina survived. Minato survived. Sasuke remained Naruto's friend. The world survived the war. But there was one problem. That future was unstable. The source spoke. Minato discovered that your survival required a sacrifice. Quote, Naruto whispered. What sacrifice? His own destiny. Naruto froze. The vision showed Minato placing his hand on the golden leaf. He transferred a part of his destiny into Naruto. The source continued. Minato connected your existence to the possibilities of countless realities. If you died, those realities would begin collapsing. Naruto's eyes widened. So that's why the multiverse kept protecting me. Quote, yes. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Your survival was keeping countless worlds alive. Naruto stared at the vision. But why didn't Dad tell me? Because he knew the knowledge would put you in danger. Quote, the vision changed again. Minato returned to Konoha. He looked at baby Naruto. He smiled. Then he whispered, I don't know what future awaits you. But I know you'll find your own path. Naruto's eyes became wet. Dad, the source continued, but Minato made another choice. Naruto looked up. What choice? He created a final seal. A seal that would activate if the multiverse ever became unstable. Naruto looked at the golden leaf. That's the golden leaf. Yes. Sasuke stepped forward. Then Minato knew all of this could happen. Yes. Naruto clenched his fist. Then why didn't he stop it? The source answered. Because he knew he couldn't control the future. Quote, he could only give you the chance to choose. Naruto became silent. The source continued. That is why you survived. Not because you were destined to become a hero. But because Minato believed you should decide who you become. Quote, Naruto looked at Sasuke. Sasuke smiled. That sounds like your father. Naruto laughed softly. Yeah. Suddenly, the darkness around them began changing. A massive image appeared. It showed Minato standing before the source. Naruto's expression changed. Wait, is that really Dad? The source answered. Yes, but this happened before I was born. Correct. Minato looked directly toward the source. One day, my son will reach this place. Quote, the source remained silent. Minato continued. When he does, don't tell him what future he should choose. Let him decide. Naruto stared in shock. His father had known this moment would come. Minato smiled in the vision. Naruto doesn't need a perfect future. He only needs the freedom to create his own. The vision disappeared. Naruto lowered his head. The source spoke again. Your father trusted you before you could even speak. Quote, Naruto wiped his eyes. I'll make sure his trust wasn't wasted. Sasuke placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. We'll do it together. Eren stepped forward. And I will choose my own future too. Ren smiled. Then we finally understand. Naruto looked at them. Understand what? Ren answered. Minato wasn't trying to create a perfect world. He was trying to create a world where his son could choose. Quote, Naruto smiled. Then the source suddenly became silent. Sasuke noticed. What happened? The source answered. Something is wrong. Naruto looked up. What? The destiny Minato gave you is being removed. Quote, Naruto's expression changed. By whom? The source replied. Someone has entered the original timeline. Naruto's eyes widened. Who? The source answered. The first version of you. Naruto froze. Sasuke stepped forward. The first Naruto. The source nodded. And he has come to take back the destiny Minato gave you. The golden leaf began cracking. Naruto clenched his fist. Then let's meet him. Quote, the source opened a portal. Beyond it was the original timeline. And standing in the middle of Konoha was a Naruto who had never known Minato as his father. A Naruto who had grown up without love. A Naruto who had never learned the meaning of friendship. His eyes were completely black. He looked toward the portal. Then he smiled. Finally, I found the Naruto who stole my future. The Naruto who was never saved. The portal opened above Konoha. Naruto, Sasuke, Eren, Ren, and the future Naruto stepped through. The moment Naruto saw the village, he stopped. It was Konoha, but it felt empty. The streets were silent. The buildings were damaged. There were no children playing. No laughter. No villagers. Sasuke looked around. This is the original timeline. The source's voice answered. One version of it. Naruto looked toward the center of the village. Someone was standing there. A young Naruto. Same face. Same hair. But his clothes were torn. His eyes were completely black. He looked at the group. So you finally came. Naruto stepped forward. Who are you? The other Naruto laughed. You already know. Naruto shook his head. No. The other Naruto pointed at him. I'm the Naruto who was never saved. Silence filled the village. Sasuke looked at Naruto. The other Naruto continued. In my reality, Minato never found the golden leaf. He never changed my destiny. He never saved me. Naruto's expression changed. What happened to you? The other Naruto smiled bitterly. Everything. My father died. My mother died. Konoha feared me. I grew up alone. I became stronger. But nobody came. Naruto lowered his head. The other Naruto looked at him. Then I discovered something. Quote, what? You existed. Naruto looked up. I discovered that another version of me had everything I wanted. A family, friends, people who believed in him. Even a father who changed destiny for him. Quote, the other Naruto clenched his fist. So I decided to take it. Naruto stepped forward. You think I stole your future? You did. I never asked for it. That doesn't matter. The other Naruto raised his hand. The entire village began shaking. You were given the destiny that belonged to all of us. Naruto looked at the golden leaf. The crack spread across it. The source spoke. Naruto. Naruto looked upward. What? You must not fight him with hatred. Naruto understood. He needs to choose. The other Naruto laughed. Choose? You think I still have a choice? Naruto nodded. Yes. The other Naruto's eyes narrowed. Then prove it. He disappeared. Naruto immediately sensed him behind him. He blocked a punch. The impact destroyed several buildings. Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. Naruto, he's using the same abilities as you. Quote, Naruto nodded. I know. The other Naruto attacked again. Shadow clones appeared everywhere. Thousands of Narutos filled Konoha. The battle became impossible to follow. Sasuke fought through the clones. Eren protected the villagers. Ren created barriers. The future Naruto confronted the Dark Naruto. You don't have to do this. The Dark Naruto attacked him. You had everything, and you wasted it. Quote, the future Naruto blocked the attack. I made mistakes. The Dark Naruto shouted. At least you had someone who believed in you. The future Naruto lowered his weapon. I know what loneliness feels like. Quote, the Dark Naruto froze. You don't. I do. The future Naruto looked at him. I became the person who tried to control everyone because I was terrified of losing them. You became someone who wanted everything. Quote, I became someone who was afraid of having nothing. The Dark Naruto stared at him. For a moment, his anger disappeared. Then the golden leaf shattered. Everyone froze. Naruto looked down. The golden leaf had completely broken. The source spoke. The destiny has been separated. Naruto looked at the Dark Naruto. A golden thread connected them. The other Naruto stared at it. What is that? Naruto answered. Your destiny. Quote, the Dark Naruto reached for it. But Naruto stopped him. Don't take mine. The Dark Naruto stared. Then what do you want? Naruto smiled. I want you to have your own. The Dark Naruto looked confused. How? Naruto touched the golden thread. We separate our destinies. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Are you sure? Naruto nodded. I don't need destiny to tell me who I am. The golden thread split into two. One half entered Naruto. The other entered the Dark Naruto. The black color disappeared from his eyes. He fell to his knees. Naruto caught him. The Dark Naruto looked up. Why? Naruto answered. Because you're me. But I hated you. I know. I wanted your life. I know. Then why save me? Naruto smiled. Because someone should have saved you long ago. The Dark Naruto began crying. For the first time, someone had chosen him. The empty village began changing. People slowly appeared. Children returned. The buildings repaired themselves. The sky became blue. The source spoke. The destiny has been restored. Naruto looked at the Dark Naruto. What will you do now? He stood up. I don't know. Naruto smiled. Good. The Dark Naruto looked confused. Why is that good? Quote, because now you get to choose. The Dark Naruto smiled. Then the sky suddenly darkened. Sasuke looked upward. Naruto. Naruto turned. What? A massive crack appeared above Konoha. The source's voice became serious. This was not supposed to happen. Naruto raised his kunai. What is it? The source answered. The destiny you separated created something new. Something that never existed before. From the crack, A figure began descending. It looked like Naruto, but it had no face, no eyes, no chakra, only a completely white body. The source whispered, "The Empty One," and it spoke its first words. "I am the Naruto who has no destiny. The Naruto with no destiny." The Empty One stood above Konoha. Its body looked like Naruto, but something was missing. No chakra, no emotion, no memories, no destiny. Naruto stared at it. "What are you?" The Empty One looked at him. "I am what remains when destiny is removed." Sasuke activated his Rinnegan. "I can't see any chakra." Naruto nodded. "Because there isn't any." Quote, the Empty One descended slowly. "I have no beginning. I have no predetermined future. I have no purpose." Naruto stepped forward. "Then you're free." The Empty One tilted its head. "Free, yes." The Empty One looked at the dark Naruto. "Then why does he have a life?" Naruto answered, "Because he chose one." The Empty One looked at Naruto. "And what about you?" Naruto smiled. "I choose mine too." Quote, the Empty One remained silent. Then the sky suddenly cracked. The source spoke. "Naruto, be careful." Naruto looked upward. "Why?" The Empty One is not a person. "What is it?" "It is pure possibility." Quote, Sasuke's expression changed. "Then it can become anything." "Correct." The Empty One raised its hand. The entire village changed. Konoha became a battlefield, then a peaceful village, then a ruined city, then a futuristic world, then it returned to normal. Naruto watched in shock. "It can change reality without chakra." The source answered, "Because it doesn't follow the rules of reality." The Empty One looked at Naruto. "You created me." Naruto frowned. "How?" "When you separated your destiny from his. It left something behind. Me." The dark Naruto stepped forward. "Then you're my problem." Naruto stopped him. "No." The dark Naruto looked at him. "I spent my life blaming others. Now I want to fix something myself." He walked toward the Empty One. "I know what it means to have nothing." The Empty One looked at him. "You had a destiny. I lost it. You had a family. I never had one." The dark Naruto shook his head. "Exactly." The Empty One remained silent. The dark Naruto continued. "You think having no destiny means having no purpose." Quote, "But that's not true. Purpose isn't something you're given. It's something you create." The Empty One stared at him. "What purpose did you create?" The dark Naruto looked at Naruto. "To protect someone who saved me." Quote, Naruto smiled. The Empty One's body began changing. A faint golden mark appeared on its chest. Sasuke looked surprised. "It's responding." Naruto nodded. "It's learning." Suddenly, the Empty One screamed. A massive wave of energy exploded. The entire sky turned white. Naruto raised the golden leaf. The dark Naruto stood beside him. Sasuke activated Susanoo. Eren created a barrier. Ren protected the village. The future Naruto joined them. 5 powers merged, but the Empty One broke through. Naruto was thrown across the village. He crashed into the ground. "Naruto." Sasuke rushed toward him. Naruto stood up. "I'm fine." The Empty One appeared in front of him. "You choose." Naruto looked at it. "Yes." "Then choose." The Empty One raised its hand. 3 visions appeared. Minato and Kushina, Sasuke and the others. The entire multiverse. The Empty One spoke. "You cannot save everyone." Naruto smiled. "You're still trying to make me choose between them." "Yes. I already rejected that." Naruto raised his hand. The dark Naruto joined him. Sasuke stepped forward. Eren stood beside them. Ren raised his hand. The future Naruto joined the circle. The golden leaf appeared again. But this time it was different. It wasn't Naruto's leaf. It wasn't Minato's. It wasn't the world trees. It was created from every choice they had made. Naruto looked at the Empty One. "We don't need one destiny. We need the freedom to create one." Quote, the Empty One looked at the leaf. "Can I have one?" Naruto smiled. "Yes." "How?" Naruto held out his hand. "Choose." The Empty One stared at him. Then it reached forward. It touched Naruto's hand. For the first time, it felt something. Warmth. The Empty One's body began changing. A face appeared. Eyes appeared. Hair appeared. A human form began taking shape. The dark Naruto smiled. It chose. Quote, Naruto nodded. The Empty One looked at itself. "What am I?" Naruto answered. "Whatever you want to become." The new Naruto looked at everyone. Then it smiled. "I think I want to be your friend." Quote, Naruto laughed. That's a good choice. The sky became clear. The source became silent. Then a final message appeared above Konoha. The cycle has been broken. Everyone looked upward. Naruto smiled. But suddenly, a single red eye appeared in the sky. The source's voice became frightened. No. Naruto looked up. What? The source answered. Something has entered from outside the multiverse. Quote, the red eye opened completely. A voice echoed across every reality. Naruto Uzumaki, you have changed everything. Now, I will change you. Friends, subscribe to Animeverse Lore to watch the next part. Comment, next part, below, and Animeverse Lore will upload the next part very soon.